Rehabilitation, or prehab, isn't something that people talk about when it comes to surgery. In relation to rehabilitation, prehab is much the same thing in the sense of physical therapy. Prehab is conducted in the weeks prior to surgery to prep the mind and body for the coming stress and trauma, whereas rehabilitation is conducted afterwards. For the purposes of this documentary, prehab will be discussed in relation to ACL, or anterior cruciate ligament reconstruction.
In a galaxy full of joint injuries and disabilities, why choose to look at ACL reconstructive surgery to show the awesome power of the dark side, alias prehab?
Well, to answer this, let's look at some numbers. There are approximately 200,000 ACL injuries every year, with between 80,000 and 100,000 involving partial or complete ligament tears. To put this in perspective, let's think about what the function of the ACL is, which is to keep your legs from buckling underneath you while you walk, or to keep the bottom half of your leg underneath the top half of your leg. Another function of the ACL is that it allows the knee to pivot. It is this pivoting motion that often leads to injury and rupture. This figure depicts how this can happen in sports, wherein the internal rotation of the femur and the external rotation of the tibia cause too much tension and therefore rupturing the ACL. The following is an example of what an ACL injury looks like in basketball. Here you see Derrick Rose plant to explode up, at which point the upper portion of his leg pivots externally, while the planted lower portion stays moving internally with his momentum. In this next, perhaps more graphic example, is Michael Owen tearing his ACL. In much the same pivoting motion as Rose, it is clearly seen when the ACL snaps and the lower tibia slides forward of his upper femur. The whole point of going through an injury in such detail is to show how easy it is to fall into a situation where you might need surgery.
I grow weary of your examples. Tell me now, what is prehab?
Okay. There's one last thing you need to understand before getting into what prehab actually is. The type of prehab you do depends on the type of graft that you will get to replace your ligament, whether it be from your patella, your hamstring, your quad, or from a cadaver. However, using a cadaver as a graft is tricky, as your body may reject the graft. Once it is decided what type of graft you will get, you can begin to understand what type of prehab you can do to strengthen the muscles and ligaments that will be affected by the surgery. Briefly going back to ACL injuries, this exercise is one that can be done at home as a part of prehab to strengthen the knee, ankle, and quad muscles for the coming surgery ahead. As prehabilitation is often a result of injury, this exercise may not be suitable for a disabled person. It is for this reason that prehab is highly personalized for each case. Another example is this simple quad strengthening exercise that can be done at home as well, wherein the exercise itself is not as strenuous as the one before.
Finally, the power of the dark side, alias prehab, is known to those who would use it all for power. But what does it all mean, man?
Let's face it, prehab is a bit of a black sheep in today's society. In a world longing for instant gratification, a technique that uses foresight and planning for down the road isn't going to be widely accepted. The road to recovery is a long one, with prehab being the point where you buckle in. The main goal of this documentary is to bring awareness to the technique of prehabilitation, in hopes that somewhere along the line people begin to see its usefulness. This is not a new technique, it's an overlooked one, something that I hope to change in bringing you this information.